and then finally dropping back to fill in at left fullback when the injury to Jimmy Tansey. Tansey and Perry both out of the game tonight. There's the number 9, Bismarto, promising build-up on the right. There's Pascalo, the number 5. And won back possession well. Murray Barnes. Well, there was some indecision there with Eisendorn. In fact, it was Alan Davidson, that's the injured player. Alan Maher on the ground, the goalkeeper. He has already sustained an injury on this tour to his knee. And we just hope, for Australia's sake, that Alan Maher will be able to resume in this game. So the first quarter of the match has been awarded. Well, our apologies to Australia. I believe that we lost the first 2 minutes of this match due to a satellite problem, but the game now in its 3rd minute, and the scoreline still locked at 0-0. Australia defending the goal to our left. The injured player is Alan Maher. There's a shot of what is quite a large crowd here tonight at the Senayan Stadium here in Jakarta. Rudy Gutendorf out there with Charlie Jurisic, the team masseur, and Alan Maher to take his place back in the goals for Australia. So the corner to be taken from the right-hand side. Short corner taken. The number 12 is Effendi, a player with big raps on him here. And that's a great goal. Effendi has scored in the 4th minute. And what a great start for Indonesia. Well, as I was saying, the local press have got some tremendous raps on this young fellow, Julham Effendi from the Paradetex club here in Jakarta, and he's put Indonesia in the lead by 1-0. Well, can Australia come back? Alan Davidson. John Eisendorn. Couldn't find Krencevic. The number 14 in there is Ruli Neri on the break. The number 8 is Nurian Sah. And that was Tony Henderson coming across the number 6. Well, if full capacity at this stadium here in Jakarta is 135,000, I would say we'd have somewhere in the vicinity of 30 to 35,000 here tonight. Damadi. The number 14 is Neri. And across came Ivo Pascalo. Headed on by Peter Shan. The number 6 is Subankit. And back came Shan again. So Australia toying with it at the back. Finally turned back for goalkeeper Maher. And as I mentioned earlier in our telecast, certainly a great battle is looming between that man in picture, Alan Maher, and Greg Woodhouse on this Australian tour. Shan has got tremendous pace on the right. Came around Pate Nasarani, the captain of this Indonesian side. Comes from the Wanaragung club, over 50 caps. So the long throw we can anticipate from Murray Barnes. He is an expert at this, and we'll see it floating right into that penalty area. Krencevic with the head, and taken by the goalkeeper Perwano. So the first pressure really on this Indonesian side. Perwano has been preferred to the number 1 goalkeeper Tobing from the Jayakarta club here in Jakarta, and the number 15 is Johannes. And that's the captain, Pate Nasarani. The number 6 in picture is Subankit. He also hails from the Jaki Utama club in Lampang. And that's a nice touch for the number 4, Tutu Arima. And the Australian defence tested at the moment. That's Alan Davidson trying to graft back. And a sliding tackle from Davidson. He's won possession. Krenčević on the break. Shan overlapping on the right. And that's beautifully run onto the ball by Shan. Kept it in the field of play. Shan into the penalty area. And here's Alan Davidson that has come forward from left back. And a solid challenge that time by the Indonesian defence. But offside ruled on the Australian side. That was Stephen Hogg, the number 2, that ran onto the ball. So Indonesia off to a great start through that 4th minute goal by Effendi. That's Darmadi. And finally, it's Tony Henderson knocking the ball forward. The throw to be taken by John Eisendorn, who has recovered from the problems earlier on the tour with illness. And I believe is leaving tomorrow for England to trial with Ipswich. So a great break for the very talented Australian from the Heidelberg club in Victoria. Now Ivo Prescalo. Long ball pumped forward into that penalty area. Up went Mark Jankovic. Peter Shan. In fact, that's Kenny Bowden, the number 8, showing all the skills we know he possesses. And finally, the Indonesian defence very composed. About 20 minutes before the start of the game, a very heavy shower fell. It's the second torrential downpour we've had in Jakarta today, so obviously the conditions out there reasonably slippery, although the pitch is beautifully grassed. It really is a stadium up to international standard, a magnificent stadium. In fact, it was built in 1962, or in fact it was opened in 1962 for the Asian Games. It is encircled by an all-weather synthetic track, and it seats well over 100,000 people. So it's Simpson Rumapasel to take the throw on the right-hand side for Indonesia. That's Subangkit. Very deliberate in the build-up, the Indonesian side. They know they're already leading by that 1-0. A brilliant start. Back goes Hogg. Played forward for Murray Barnes. So Barnes has pushed forward for the Australian side. Shan's made the run, but finally taken away by Ruli Neri. And this Indonesian side obviously very, very quick on the break. Alan Maher is off his line and brilliantly saved. Brilliant save by the Australian goalkeeper. He had to commit himself on that occasion. So Alan Davidson trying to inject some life into this Australian attack. Mark Jankovic, who is playing alone up front today as the lone centre forward, with the backing of Krenčević, Peter Shan and Kenny Bowden. That's Bowden, the number 8. From all reports, Kenny Bowden has really blossomed on this Australian tour and was named today by Rudy Gutendorf as one of the real consistent players so far on the tour. One of his big disappointments was the form of Tony Henderson, and Rudy mentioned to me today that he expected far bigger things from the former Australian captain. It's young Stephen Hogg. So the corner to be taken by Australia from the left-hand side. Up goes Krenčević, headed on by Jankovic, and stuck away by Henderson. The equaliser by Australia, by Tony Henderson, and what a vital goal that was for Australia. And it came from a corner from Peter Shan, and the two Marconi players, Jankovic and Krenčević, combined. And finally, it was Tony Henderson that found himself on the end of a receiving ball from Jankovic to put it away, and Australia pulled one back. 1 goal all, 12.5 minutes of play gone in this first half. And that was a good tackle by Kenny Bowden, formerly of Newcastle Cable United, now with the Sydney City side. So from the team that played against Greece in Athens. The two fullbacks, Jim Tansey and Steve Perry, are both out injured, and Gary Cole has been left out of the side for this particular match. So the injured player there was Bambang Ludiansa from the Assetto club here in Jakarta. And President Suharto's son, in fact, is the manager. Brilliant save. Bertie Kutuarima found himself on a through ball there. And again, Alan Maher really showing the crowd here why he is currently considered as the #1 goalkeeper in Australia. And straight away, a substitution being made in the Australian camp. And this is something that Rudy Gutendorf has been very prone to do during this tour. That's him in the Australian tracksuit. And very early substitution. It appears that Ivo Priscalo will be coming off. And I think John Spanos, I think it is, that will be going on. So the corner has been forced again by Indonesia. And it appears that it's going to be taken very, very quickly. This time we won't see the short corner. The long one floated in. Australia under pressure through Murray Barnes. And again, the second corner in the space of 30 seconds has been forced by Indonesia. So a very important stage of the game. Indonesia trying to kick ahead by that 1-goal advantage again. Headed over the top by Murray Barnes. And constant pressure on the Australians. And this time the corner will be taken from left-hand side. And it will be taken by the number 14, Ruli Neri. The number 3 is Dermadi. On the far post is Alan Maher. The number 2 there was Ruma Pasal. Well done by Stephen Hogg. And Australia not really being able to bring the ball under control. The run made by Shan. And the goalkeeper, Purwano, letting the ball go for the goal kick to Indonesia. Well, they were caught napping there. Peter Shan in there challenging. But the Australians had retreated in defence. Peter Shan is now getting some support up front. And the free kick to Australia for that challenge on Kenny Bowden. So Jankovic has gone to the far post. That's in the number 13. Being closely checked by Darmadi. Bowden, left foot ball. Jankovic with the run. But it's wide of that far post. And once again, the goal kick to Indonesia. So just on 22 minutes of play gone in this first half. Cleared away by Pati Nasarani. Alan Davidson was deceived by the bounce as he was challenged that time by Neri. Came back inside the number 9, Ismanto. Nice touch by Bowden. That's Hogg. Flicked on that time for Jankovic. And that's the foul on Mark Jankovic by the number 6, Subankit. And the free kick goes to Australia. So we welcome our viewers right around Australia for this live telecast by courtesy of the O28 network. And anticipating a viewing audience in Australia tonight of some 2 million people watching this international live from Jakarta. So Australia can be thankful through the teamwork of the 3 Marconi players, in fact the 4 Marconi players, Peter Shan, Krejcievic, Jankovic and Henderson for the equalising goal in the 12th minute. It was a good one by Australia. But still they've got the job ahead of them. This Indonesian side is young and very talented and fast. And a substitution being made in the Indonesian side. So the throw taken, headed down by Barnes. And Australia under pressure again, finally cleared away by the Australian skipper. And the throw once again to Indonesia. So the Indonesian side have a match planned against Japan and also a tour to Saudi Arabia starting on December the 12th, and they'll be playing in Jeddah and also Riyadh. So they are treating their friendly matches as a warm-up to the pre-World Cup eliminations very, very seriously. It is the major sport here in Indonesia, and that's obvious by the very, very good crowd here tonight for this international clash with Australia. The man on the ground is Ruli Neri from the Warner Gun Club. And the free kick goes to Indonesia. That's a good ball. Mark punches it away under pressure. And Eddie Krencevic on the break now for Australia. Played forward for his Marconi teammate Peter Shan. And the throw will go to Indonesia, taken by Darmadi Patanasarari. Headed forward by Henderson. The number 12 is Effendi, the man that put Indonesia in the lead after 4 minutes of the first half. Eddie Krencevic on the break, support of Jankovic on the left, but a great tackle that time. The referee has allowed play to go on, much to the delight of this Indonesian home crowd. And that's the number 11, Sonato. The number 12, Effendi. And the run made by Sonato, pulls it back and cleared away. And finally it's Peter Shan for Australia. On for Krencevic. Challenged by Patanasarari. Krencevic. There's the run made by Shan again. Tremendous pace, Peter Shan. Too much pace for the number 2. Rumah Pasal. And finally, the goalkeeper, Parwano, forced to leave the 18-yard box to clear it over this grandstand touchline. And up comes Murray Barnes. And again, we'll see the familiar long throw by the Australian captain into that penalty area. And certainly some pressure on this occasion on Indonesia. Floating ball, flicked on that time by Krencevic, but nobody on the end of the header. And finally, again, it's Neri that takes it away for Indonesia. Turn back for the number 2, Rumah Pasal, also from the Warner Gun Club here in Jakarta. Subakit. Rumah Pasal again, overlapping right-hand side. Played back for the number 12, Effendi, and the crowd seems to really lift when Effendi gets a touch for Indonesia. A very popular player here in Jakarta, and probably no more popular at any time of his career than the 4th minute when he put Indonesia into the lead. Alan Maher was completely deceived by a left footer from Effendi, but then, of course, Tony Henderson pulled one back for Australia 12 minutes into the first half, and that scoreline of 1-1 has remained intact. We're 31.5 minutes into the first half. Davidson, Murray Barnes, Eddie Krencevic tried to find Bowden, backheeled for Barnes, now that's Bowden, deceived his man beautifully, Kenny Bowden. Has the tendency to overwork the ball, Bowden, on occasions. Murray Barnes with a shot and easily saved on the far post by Parwano, Indonesia's goalkeeper. Rumah Pasal on the right-hand side. Ruli Neri, and driven forward again by Australia. So in fact, this live coverage on the Channel O 28 network is the third of the international clashes that has been beamed back live to Australia. And again, it was Effendi that found himself on the end of the pass. Here it comes again. And just watch the amazing reflex save here by Alan Maher, tipping it around past that far post. There's Maher up again, punching it away. Well, I mentioned earlier in the telecast that a man to watch is the number 12, Ghulam Effendi, and he certainly has looked impressive tonight. That's him again with a lovely through ball for Neary, and pressure right on this Australian defence again at the moment. Turned out wide by Tutuarima, and Sonato finally gaining the corner for Indonesia. So again, constant pressure on the Australian defence, and in particular goalkeeper Alan Maher. He really has stood up to it well tonight though. But it appears that this Indonesian side appear to have too many legs for Australia at the moment. They really are very nippy indeed. Darmadi. The number 9 in there was Ismanto. He scored 2 goals for Indonesia against Hong Kong in that 4-0 win just recently. He comes from the Indonesia Muda Club. Now Murray Barnes. And is that a corner to Australia? It is. So another corner has been conceded with just 5 minutes remaining in this first half. So we're hoping these pictures and sound are coming through loud and clear to this live audience in Australia. As Peter Shan takes the corner, right-hand side, keeps it low, and it was headed away by the number 6, Subankit. Again, knocked out on the right for Peter Shan. Hogg, offside Australia. It was the number 3, Eddie Krencevic, who really tried to get back onside. Pati Nasarani on now for the number 6, Subankit. And Australia come away with it again through Kenny Bowden. Taking it all the way. Peter Shan just got a very gentle touch to it. And Murray Barnes was completely off balance as he tried that left foot shot. But good positioning on the near post by Pawano, narrowing down that angle for Murray Barnes. So we're into the final 3 minutes of this first half. And all the goal-scoring action happened in the first 12 minutes. The first goal by Effendi in the 4th minute of the first half. And Australia pulled one back through Tony Henderson just about 8 minutes later. It was a combination of the Marconi players that led to that equalising goal by Australia. Eisendorn was in there. That's Hogg. On for Bowden. Again for Hogg on the left. And Indonesia intercept that ball as it was on its way to Eddie Krencevic. And the ball really skidding off that damp turf. And the throw will go to Australia. Again, Murray Barnes quite adventurous with that shot, and again failing to find his mark. But that really would be handy if Australia can knock another one in before half-time. It would give them a great confidence boost as they go into the half-time interval. It's been a rather arduous tour by the Australians. They've played in desert conditions in Beersheba, and only 2 days before played in sub-zero temperatures and in snow against Dynamo Zagreb when they went down 4-0. Certainly the heaviest defeat on the tour so far. So Pati Nasarani, the 31-year-old skipper of this Indonesian side, and virtually a folk hero here in Jakarta. So into the final 30 seconds. There has been a couple of injury time in this first half. I'm going off the time on the scoreboard here in Jakarta, but of course that's in the hands of the referee down there. He did look at his watch, Mr. Kasari, so he's well aware that we're very, very close to half-time. Eddie Krenčević didn't get a touch of that. That's Murray Barnes. Played on by Sonato. Sabankit. The number 4 is Tutu Arriba. And the number 2 is Ruma Pasal. And the half-time whistle sounds here at the Senayan Stadium in Jakarta with the half-time scoreline. Australia 1, Indonesia 1. And the goals coming in the 4th minute by Effendi for Indonesia. The equaliser in the 12th minute by the former Australian captain Tony Henderson. So the players leave the field for the half-time interval with the scoreline, Australia 1, Indonesia 1. So we're just about in readiness for the start of this second half. Australia now will defend the goal to our right, and Indonesia in their national colours of red and white. And Australia get the game underway in the second half, and the ball immediately played back for the number 10, Alan Davidson, and turning back, in fact, for Tony Henderson. And Alan Maher gets his little warm-up, so very early into the second half. Murray Barnes, who really has blossomed as captain of this Australian side, really revelling in that extra pressure. Now it's Barnes. And I wonder just what influence Gary Cole can make on this game. Well, dangerous touchback by the number 6, Sabankit, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that particular occasion. Appeared to be totally in command of that situation. But I'm sure a lot of the Indonesian fans here in the Senayan Stadium breathed a sigh of relief when finally Pawano clutched the ball right on that byline. The number 8 is Nudian Sah. Big Gary Cole makes the run towards the centre of that penalty area. Henderson with a low driving shot past the far post. So quite an adventurous shot by Tony Henderson, who had come forward for the Australian attack on that occasion. Big Gary Cole had made the run, and here it comes. We should see Gary Cole, that's him in picture, but the ball brushing past that far post. And now back live with just on a minute and a half gone in the second half. So Purwano, the Indonesian goalkeeper from the Nayak Mitra club in Surabaya. Some 3,000 islands in Indonesia and 140 million people. So they've certainly got some strength to draw on, and they've certainly tested the Australian side tonight. As I mentioned at the beginning of the telecast, they have yet to defeat Australia. They have met on 6 occasions, 5 wins to Australia and 1 draw. And finally, Alan Maher subjected to a little bit of pressure by Mark Jankovic, the number 13. So the battles between these two countries started in 1967 when Australia defeated Indonesia 2-0 in Jakarta. In 1974, they defeated them, led 72, 4-1, also in Jakarta. And then they inflicted 2 very telling defeats, both in Sydney in the World Cup eliminations. 2-1 and 6-0 were the victories by the Australians. In 1974, back here in Jakarta, they won the match 2-1. And in 1976, when the teams last met, it was a 1-1 draw, also here at the Senayan Stadium in Jakarta. But there are no survivors of that side out there today, or tonight, for this Australian team, although the Marconi representatives of the team have played here when they toured Indonesia only last year. Stephen Hogg came away with possession for Australia. Murray Barnes in midfield. Krenčević has made the run towards the centre of the area. Alan Davidson's on the left-hand side. Now Murray Barnes overlaps on the left. Davidson flicking it in. Cole pulled back by the jumper. And finally the free kick awarded to Indonesia. So the pictures coming by the facilities of TVRI here in Jakarta and beamed live to Australia on the O28 network. Eddie Krencevic takes on the defender, and that is turned back. Gary Cole very slow to the far post, with the goalkeeper totally in the wrong position, but some very sloppy finishing by the Australians on that occasion. And now Effendi coming forward. That's Effendi, the number 12. Alan Davidson robs him of possession. Hogg plays the 1-2 with Davidson for Bowden. Flick back for Davidson. Gary Cole, very powerful man. Mark Yankovic out on the right. Cole again with the shot, and beautifully parried. And that will go for the throw to Australia, but beautifully saved on the near post by Peruano, and it was a crashing shot from Gary Cole. So again, the long throw by the Australians, right into that penalty area. Up goes Murray Barnes. Cole turns, and again turned around by Peruano, this time for the corner to Australia. And again, here it comes. Gary Cole really has got a shot and a half on him from about 10 metres, and beautifully read by the Indonesian goalkeeper. Australia on the breakthrough. Bowden. In fact, it was Murray Barnes. Peter Shan in picture there, the number 7. Darmani played forward, offside. Offside on Ismato. So the free kick to Australia. Hadi Ismato from the Indonesia Muda Club is a man that is renowned for his goal-scoring ability here in Indonesia. Scored 2 goals for his national team's 4-0 win over Hong Kong just 2 weeks ago. So John Eisendorn takes the free kick for Australia. Up went Gary Cole. Eddie Krencevic. Peter Shan. Gary Cole again, knocking it across the area. Barnes made the run. So too did Bowden. Yankovic cleared away. Krencevic brought down. And now Davidson. Bowden. Krencevic heading it. And ghosting in there was Murray Barnes. But the man totally in control of the situation was Peruano, the Indonesian goalkeeper. Up goes Tony Henderson. Alan Davidson chesting it down. Ruma Pasal played on nicely. Over the top. I don't think Alan Mar got a touch to it. It will be a goal kick to Australia, but certainly Australia's defence caught napping again on the break as Ruma Pasal played it forward, and the man that ran onto it was the number 11, Sonato, and Alan Mar had to really scamper to try and narrow down that angle. So into the 8th minute of the second half. The scoreline of 1-1 hasn't changed since the 12th minute of the first half. But there's been plenty to keep this very, very large crowd occupied and entertained. Gary Cole. And a badly directed cross that time by the big striker from Heidelberg. We've come to expect some better finishing from Gary Cole, but it wasn't to be on that occasion. Gary Cole, in fact, is the leading goal scorer in the history of the Phillips Soccer League since its introduction back in 1977. He's averaged something like 15 goals a season. Something over 54 or 55 goals, I think. That's including his hat-trick in that grand final of the Phillips League against Sydney City down at the Bruce Stadium in Canberra some 7 or 8 weeks ago. So, 13 minutes of play gone, second half. And the Australians appear to be getting a little bit leg-weary out there. The ground is rather heavy, but it's very, very well grassed. but they've had quite a bit of rain here today in Indonesia. And after their long flight, I'm sure that these boys will really be looking forward to the rest. Well, it appeared very much like a handball that time by the Australian Alan Davidson. Ball played forward beautifully. Peter Shan, oh, muffed the shot. Krenčević, yes, headed off the line. Well, what has Australia got to do to put one into the back of the net? Really, they should have done better, particularly Peter Shan on his first attempt. Let's just watch it. In replay, there is Peter Shan completely missing the ball. He finally did well, knocked it square for Eddie Krenčević, and look at that brilliant defence by the Indonesian team. Mark Jankovic tried to find Gary Cole, and it gives Indonesia a chance to launch another attack through the number 14, Neri. And that's Tutuarima. Then Dermadi. Dermadi again. Davidson pumping it forward, flicked on for Krenčević. Peter Shan, goalkeeper off his line. And I think into the side of the netting. Let's have a look at that again. Peter Shan did very, very well indeed here. Well, that appeared to go into the net, but I think the free kick has been awarded. Shan for the challenge on the goalkeeper. As we see a substitution being made, Theo Salabides replacing Mark Jankovic. And Theo Salabides came on as a substitute against Greece, back at his own old home country, and scored one of Australia's goals in the 3-3 draw with the Greek national team. Pati Nasarani, the Indonesian captain, dispossessed by Eddie Krenčević, came back well. That's Bowden. Hits the post, and Indonesia breathe a sigh of relief once again. Kenny Bowden nearly scoring off a deflection on that occasion. Now Davidson. Rudy Neri. Back comes Henderson. And Tony Henderson very, very composed in the Australian defence on that occasion. Johnny Eisendorn. And the new player on the field, Theo Salabides. Krenčević. Salabides for Murray Barnes. On this time for Peter Shan. Back for Murray Barnes, looking to knock it to that far post. But the run made by Krenčević couldn't get on the end of that ball from Murray Barnes, and the ball goes for the goal kick to Indonesia with 22.5 minutes or 23 minutes of play gone in the second half. So we're midway through the second half. The scoreline still 1-1. And it's been that way since the 12th minute of the first half. So the pace of the game has slowed right down. But Australia have been denied 2 or 3 obvious scoring opportunities in the second half that could have put them ahead. Stephen Hogg. Peter Shan. There's his pace down that right wing again. But I think high hopes for the pace of Peter Shan that time because it was a bad ball. Well, here's a rare sight. Jamie Payton is a man that really hasn't seen a lot of the park in the tour so far. And he's coming on as a substitution for Eddie Krenčević. Jamie Payton, who partners Gary Cole up front for Heidelberg in the Phillips Soccer League of Australia, has come on as the substitute for Eddie Krejcevic. One wonders whether he can just inject that bit of spark up front that is needed at the moment. Well, he was denied his first touch that time because it was intercepted by Darmani. That's really Natty, the number 14. Strongly challenged that time by Alan Davidson. And it's a throw to Indonesia. The number 8 there is Bambang Nuriansa. And Simpson Rumapasal takes the throw. Sonato Rumapasal. Easily intercepted by Kenny Bowden. Bowden all the way. Kenny Bowden fouled. Professional foul that time by the Indonesian skipper Pata Nasarani. And just watch this, Kenny Bowden showing great pace here. It was the battle between him and Rumapasal, and there's the foul. And Kenny Bowden still lying down injured. So we could see the run by either Tony Henderson or by Gary Cole, but it wasn't on that time by the Australians. It wasn't a well-taken free kick by Kenny Bowden. Back goes Jamie Payton in defence, the number 14. Beautifully played forward that time for Ismanto. Ismanto with the cross on the near post is Alan Maher. Quick throw out for Bowden. So Australia went into the game tonight without their two recognised fullbacks, Steve Perry and Jim Tansey, both on the injured and ill list, but pleased to report to their families back in Australia, it's nothing too serious. The lads are okay, and I'm sure it won't be too long before they'll be wanting to get active again with this Australian side. Nice little through ball by Gary Cole. Here's Murray Barnes. Won that battle in the air. Salamides, shot is cut out. Tony Henderson has Murray Barnes on the left. Barnes back inside his defender. Low curving ball, easily cut out. Alan Davidson. Davidson with the shot. And no pressure at all that time on Purwano. And an Indonesian player again down injured. And the scoreline still 1-1. Now, they're getting a stretcher. This is very, very sad for the Indonesian side to lose a player so late in the game. And I still have not been able to ascertain who the injured player is. Now, what's going to happen? The referee has come back to Australia's side of halfway. The substituted player, the substitution coming on is Nasir Salasa of PSM in South Celebes. Theo Salamides. And where are the Australian forwards? Salamides made great inroads down the left-hand side there for Australia. So I think the injured player for the Indonesian side is Ronnie Patanasarani, the captain of the Indonesian side. And we only hope that it's not all that serious. Gary Cole, dispossessed. Played forward. The number 12 there is Effendi. And finally, out for Hades Manto. But the throw going to Australia. We're into the final minute of actual playing time. And it will be interesting to note just how much time is added on for injuries in the second half and stoppages. Payton, Jamie Payton, couldn't quite get there in time. The Australian attack is not all over yet. Murray Barnes couldn't bring it under control. And the home crowd started to whistle to the referee. The 45 minutes are up in the second half. And some 50,000 people have witnessed this game tonight, and it appears almost certain that the game will end in a draw. The referee's looking at his watch. The throw to be taken by Indonesia. As the referee signals full time at the Senayan Stadium in Jakarta, Australia wind up their world tour with a